Today I'm going to show you guys how I made Purple Tigress's ears, tail, and Punja Bracelet. For this project you'll need fabric, belt rings, dye, and some upholstery foam that you put in chairs. You'll also need your faux fur of choice. Bring a pot that's specifically meant for dye down to your kitchen and also lay out all your materials. I like to use tinfoil underneath some paper towels because I know it's waterproof and it won't burn my counter. Fill up your pot a quarter of the way up with water and then put it on the stove and heat it up until it's steaming but not boiling. For the color mixing, I added 4 tablespoons of pink and 1 tablespoon of purple to my quarter of the way filled up pot. Since I don't have a lot of fabric anyway, putting less water will just make the color more saturated. I use root dye more, but if you're using any other dye, make sure you read the instructions carefully. Take some wet fabric and put it into the dye bath. You have to wait 30 minutes because the dye takes longer to take to fabric than it does to wigs. After the time is up, you can just take the fabric right out of the dye bath and rinse it in your sink. Squeeze and wring it out until the water runs clear. Hang it up to dry, now it's time to move on to the Punja Bracelet. For this you'll need glass cabochons, some chain, which is brown or maroon, and some wire cutters or pliers. Trace your hand on a piece of paper and draw out the shape of the miraculous. This is just so that you know the measurement of your wire that you need. Take an oval-shaped cabochon out of the bag and place it in the middle of your hand shape. Now you just have to measure the length of your chains from the gem to each of your fingers and then your wrist. It's not shown here, but in the end I used 4 large chain links for each connection. Take out a measuring device. You can use a ruler, but I use a dial caliper just to be a little bit more precise. Measure your glass cabochon's length and width and also the diameter of your 4 fingers. For this project I chose to 3D print mine, but you can also make yours out of foam. To make my model, I use Fusion 360, but there's a ton of free online and downloadable software that you can use to make 3D models. I made sure to leave a slit in each one of my round cuff designs. This includes the rings and the wrist cuff. This is so that we can put it into heated water later and just change the form to make it fit us in real life better. I sent it off to the printer and let it print. This took about an hour and a half, and here it is. Let's take it off the supports and try it on. It fit pretty well. I just knew that once I put on the suit, the rings would be a little too tight, so I heated up some water for a whole minute and dropped the pieces in. You really only need to have them in there for a couple seconds before they start forming. Carefully take your ring out of the water and put it around your finger. Spread the slit open so that it fits you loosely. I like to check the gap, heat it up again, and then reform it to be open on a table or something so that it's flat. Now it's time to paint the glass cabochons. This is just exactly how you would do a glass painting. Glob on the paint, make sure it's really thick, and then wait for it to dry completely, and then dab another layer of paint on top of it until it's completely opaque. I also painted all the rings and the cuffs brown. I mixed it a little bit with purple, but this is generally supposed to be a darker color than the bodysuit anyway, so I kind of kept brown as the base for everything. Here's something of what your glass cabochon should look like. You could see a little mess ups, but that's okay, you're not really gonna see it anyway. Now take your glue of your choice. I recommend glass glue or hot glue to put your glass cabochon onto your centerpiece and attach your chain pieces using some pliers. Just open it up, put it around the rings, and then you're all ready to go. And here's the finished tiger miraculous. It's missing the pinky because I lost it. Now to make the tail and the ears, I just cut upholstery foam into the shape of an ear and into the shape of 3 balls. I wrapped those balls in fabric and I made your standard 2-ring belt. I wanted some structure in the belt, so I chose some flat gold wire and I put it inside the fabric part of the belt. I just folded it over and then sewed right next to the gold part. I had sewn a loop onto each of the balls so I could thread another piece of fabric through it using a bobby pin. I did this to all 3 of the balls and then I sewed them together and stuck the tail part into the middle of the 3 and then hand sewed all of that together. All that's left to do is hot glue some fur onto the ears and the stripes onto the tail, and then you're all done with your Tiger Miraculous accessories. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the wig video that I posted before, and don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed. See you guys next time. Bye!